Manager for Donald Trump for president. He's also the president of Citizens United and a Fox News contributor. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Okay, it's hot down in Washington, D.C. We were expecting the CBO score to come out today, maybe a vote later on in the week, but things in the Senate are on hold right now as John McCain recovers from brain surgery. They did a craniotomy, or I think that's what it's called, where they removed a 2-inch clot. Now we've got to figure out how good and how well he's doing so that he can come back. Excuse me. What's the status of this particular health care bill right now in the Senate? Well, does the president have the votes?
Well, first of all, my thoughts and prayers are with Senator McCain this morning. It is a serious thing that he's going through, and I hope that he does well in his recovery. You know, he's one of the last of a generation, right? A true war hero.
Maverick.
I've not agreed with him on a lot of things in the Senate over the years, but he's a true American hero for a lot of people, so I wish him well. This Senate bill is going to make it through. It is going to be very difficult over the next week while we wait for John McCain, because when senators are sitting around watching television and watching the coverage, they get a little hinky, as they say here. And I think that I'd prefer a vote today or tomorrow as opposed to later this week or the beginning of next. But it is going to get done.
Well, the problem is you have Senator Susan Collins says, I want you to deal with Democrats, and Rand Paul says this isn't exactly what I want. So these Republicans are not on board. There's about 8, David, that are not on board yet or not off board. What role can the president have? Effective in the House, he's been somewhat much more muted on the Senate side.
Well, I think what he's done is let the process work the way that it's supposed to work. And I think the president's letting Mitch McConnell and his staff and Mitch McConnell's leadership team put this together. And I think it is on the House and Senate. Let's make sure we're all clear. Donald Trump has been on the political landscape for a year. He's been a year and a half, and he's been president for 6 months. But we, Republicans, conservatives, ran to repeal and replace Obamacare for 7 years. He came to Washington, President Trump did, with the belief that Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell had a plan.
They were going to do it in January.
They were going to do it in January or February. And there was a plan because for 7 years, every candidate has been running on repealing and replace. So I just say, let's slow down in the blame game. There's plenty to go around. Look, did the White House communicate this correctly? I think the communications and the legislative team have been up against it on health care, where some people wanted to see taxes first. Look, there's a lot of things that could be done and talked about. This is going to happen, and once it happens, nobody's going to be pointing fingers, and it's going to go back to the House, and they're going to vote it up or down in July.
David, I want to get your reaction to this, because Jamie Dimon, who's the CEO of JP Chase, one of the largest banks in the world, he sits on the White House Business Advisory Council, and he was on a phone conversation on Friday with other big bank executives.
Conference call.
Conference call, exactly. And he is frustrated. And is it safe to say, is he a Democrat? Do you know, David?
I think he is a Democrat, but I'm not exactly sure. But
I don't know if he
think
supports
so.
The president now, but I don't think he did in the beginning. But this is what he said on the conference call. He says, it's almost embarrassing being an American citizen.
We have it.
Do we have it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's listen.
This administration can make breakthroughs in taxes and infrastructure, regulatory reform. You know, we have become one of the most bureaucratic, confusing, litigious societies on the planet. It's almost an embarrassment being an American citizen traveling around the world and listening to the stupid we have to deal with in this country. And, you know, at one point, we all have to get our act together or we won't do what we're supposed to do for the average Americans. It's not for corporations. Competitive taxes are important for business and business growth, which is important for jobs and wage growth. And you know, honestly, we should be ringing that alarm bell.
We expect to hear that from the Midwest or from the center of the country. Now we're hearing that from the New Yorkers.
Wow, I'll tell you, that's somebody who's been listening to President Trump. You know, I'll tell you, President Trump is President Trump today because of that exact sentiment, because of those facts. He won Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina, and other states because of that exact message that the American worker was being left behind, and it was time that people came to Washington and put aside quite honestly, the BS that this town has for the last last 40 years put forward. And it is time to stand up for the American worker, which is why the president's leading this week's, Hire American, Buy American week. And I'm very happy to see this.
Yeah, I just hope that, this new president with the new approach, everyone first they tried to turn the Electoral College delegates over, then they tried to have a recount, then they had the Russia thing. So when it comes to the Russia thing, all of a sudden it gets traction because of Donald Trump Jr.'s meeting that no one knew about. Then we find out there are more people in there than we thought. And I saw Lanny Davis wrote something in the USA Today as a message to Ty Cobb, the president's new attorney, and John Dowd. He said, do what we did with Bill Clinton. As painful as it is, led by the president, he told us everything. They put it out there. They even called reporters with the gory, ugly facts. And the minute they got it out there, it began to turn. And the minute the lawyers took the lead, things began to switch. And by the time Bill Clinton was done, the budget was balanced, and he left with a 60% approval rating. That was much more salacious than anything with Russia. Do you think that Lanny Davis's approach would work for President Trump, and would he listen?
Well, let me just say, I was the chief investigator in the 90s. I went up against Lanny Davis and his team every single day. Mike McCurry and their team, incredibly talented people. I disagreed with them on a lot of things, but they were incredibly talented, and they did President Clinton, a solid job. And so I do agree with Lanny, and Lanny Davis is a smart guy. He doesn't have to agree with Donald Trump to understand the strategy and tactics that go behind this. And so I'm happy to see, incredibly happy to see the president bring John Dowd and now Ty Cobb onto his team so that they can get a handle on what is going on behind the scenes, so that they can just get it all out. This drip, drip, drip thing is just not working, and we need to have a group of people, a core group, that come up and understand what everything is, right, and put it all out there, for better or worse, so that it's over in the dog days of summer, and then the American people understand the politics behind this, that it is the permanent obstruction campaign by the Democrats. That's all they have to grab onto. Sure. They have no policy initiatives.
So beat them to the punch. Beat them to the punch. Put it out there. Stop making these reporters famous and these anchors, Hollywood stars, and just tell them, put it all out there, and then go do the job.
Because there's nothing there. So even with this Donald Trump Jr. meeting, it's still nothing to it. It is in the sense that in June, when this meeting happened, no one was talking about Russia. I wish he hadn't had the meeting, but no one thought at that moment in time, and the Secret Service was not. He did not have protection of the Secret Service at the time. So nobody was vetting these meetings. And so I look at it as an innocent mistake and a naive mistake by folks who just didn't understand the politics of what 18 months later would look like, to be quite honest. And more importantly, nothing came from the meeting. The meeting happened. It ended. Nothing happened from that meeting that we can see at this point. So I think it's important that John Dowd, Ty Cobb get their arms around this with Kasowitz and his team and put it all out there. End it.
All right. Good enough. David Bossie, we thank you very much for joining us from our nation's capital today.
All right.
Thank you, David.
Thanks for having me.
David Bossie and I had one thing in common this weekend. We spent the weekends with our kids on the field getting a field tan. He was watching his daughter play softball, mine soccer, and we were both roasting at 100-degree temperature.
It was hot. Hot.
The field tan. Do you have like the T-shirt tan?
Yeah, I'm going to take my shirt off the last hour. And I'll show you.
Well, it's sweet.
That's a good tease. Hey, Jillian.
Good morning. Wow, I have to react off of that.
It's hot here,
Usually I have the golf tan, not this weekend, though. So I feel you. I understand you.
Let's get started right now. Straight to a Fox News alert. The desperate search intensifying this morning for a missing man after a deadly flash flood swept away a family in Arizona. 9 bodies, including 6 children, recovered at this hour. The youngest, just 2 years old. Authorities say 14 people were at a swimming hole when 6-feet-high waters from heavy rainfall rushed down out of nowhere. 4 people were rescued and are expected to be okay. An investigation now underway after someone broke into a Republican senator's office and reportedly left a threatening note. Nevada Senator Dean Heller has recently been in the national spotlight, considered a possible swing vote on health care. Heller reportedly on the fence about the GOP's replacement plan. Las Vegas police are not giving details on what the threat said.
An American journalist escapes a deadly attack in the Congo by hiding in a tree. A local militia killing 5 park rangers in the Okapi Wildlife Reserve yesterday. The journalist is now safe and doing okay. 2 British journalists and 5 other park rangers, part of the same team, were able to escape during the attack. And what's better than a guy proposing to his girlfriend at a Garth Brooks concert? How about the country's superstar offering to pay for the honeymoon?
Chelsea, where do you want to go on your honeymoon? Where? No idea? Well, I'll tell you what, if you pick Hawaii, Miss Yearwood,
Wife Trisha Yearwood, also at the concert in Oklahoma, said she'd absolutely pay for it, but added no one else can get engaged.
A free trip from Garth Brooks to Hawaii.
Did he say, said Hawaii?
Hawaii.
Pick Hawaii, I'll pay for it.
Yep.
Wow.
Hey, I would go to Hawaii if you're going to pay for it.
And
Why not?
he's really adapted to this new country. He's got his own channel now. He's got the Garth
nicest
channel.
guy.
Yep.
And he gets and his wife's a very talented
When
singer.
we were
so they travel
interviewing
together.
him, he asked how many kids I had, and I said, I have a little girl. He said, do you have a picture? And so he's looking through my pictures and talking about her. I'm like, this is Garth Brooks.
I know, but you love that when
Listening
they're
to
here,
him.
though, right?
He's so nice.
Will you like back off? No?
No. I was like, do you want to pay for her honeymoon one day?
Anyway, congratulations to the happy couple. Meanwhile, still ahead on this Monday, it was the Republicans' fault. Now Jane Sanders, Bernie's wife, is pointing the finger at somebody else for the FBI investigating her. Wait until you hear about that coming up.
And this mural honors the 5 Dallas police officers that were murdered in an ambush. So why is there an effort to get it removed? Rob Schmidt is here with an update on a story that we've been following all weekend long. He's coming up next. Coming in.
Rob. Good morning. Morning.
All right, Dallas threatening to take down a mural honoring 5 of his police officers slain in an ambush.
Rob Schmidt joins us with an update on one woman's battle to honor those men. Good morning, Rob.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, it's an interesting story. A Dallas bar owner who put up a fence in her yard with a mural honoring 5 police officers murdered during a Black Lives Matter protest just about 1 year ago says the city is trying to get her to take it down. Here is the fence and the mural so you can see. This is the one in question, a beautiful tribute to those 5 officers gunned down last July by a police-hating activist who told police that he wanted to kill white cops. 25-year-old Micah Johnson killed the officers last July as they worked a Black Lives Matter rally protecting people who were protesting against them. It was the deadliest day for police officers in the U.S. since 9/11, a terrible day. Officers eventually killed Johnson using a robot and a bomb, you remember, as he barricaded himself inside that parking garage. Well, Diana Paz says she had 3 Dallas police officers working at her bar that night. She remembers the trio running out the door to respond to that shooting, and she has spent nearly $20,000 of her own money on this fence and mural as a way to say thank you.
We're just trying to honor and respect to the Dallas Police Department about the what happened a year ago.
Well, Dallas, the city of Dallas and its City Hall released a statement. We did not ask that any mural be taken down. This has nothing to do with any mural. It has to do with the fact that a fence was built without a permit. So it's a code violation is what they're saying. However, Diana Paz says that nobody at City Hall even cared to discuss this issue, didn't care about the mural or the fence. They just wanted it down. Didn't want to talk about it until the media got involved. This was on Fox and Friends over the weekend. She says she's already made modifications trying to appease City Hall, and there is a big meeting today for Diana with city leaders. We're going to keep you posted as to what happens there. I'm very interested to see how they handle it now that they're getting all this attention.
So if it was a code violation, what they could do is if they're going to say absolutely you have to move the fence, they could put the fence somewhere else.
You could put you could put it somewhere else. We'll see how they do it. I think they wanted to slap like a $2,500 fine on her for this. Eventually, they're trying to, the city in these situations usually wins. They just pester you until you do what they want.
It's a tax.
It's
a tax on a fence.
That's all right.
Hopefully they can come to an agreement.
Yeah.
That's just a shame.
And that's today. So we'll find out this week, I hope. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Rob. Meanwhile, 19 minutes after the hour, still ahead. Things are so bad for Democrats right now, even their own party thinks they can't win. The dire warnings from James Carville just ahead.
Plus, Brian and I are the second of 3 children.
Middle kids.
And a new study says we are most likely to be the troublemakers.
Oh, boy.
Shocker.
So true.
Shocker, Steve, right? We're going to talk to an expert coming up next.
All right, quick headlines now. President Trump's travel ban once again under attack and heading back to the Supreme Court. Hawaii has until tomorrow to respond to the motion filed by the White House. The DOJ slamming a court for overstepping by expanding the list of family members of U.S. citizens allowed in the U.S. to include grandparents. And Bernie Sanders' wife now blaming the FBI probe in her alleged bank fraud on sexism. Jane Sanders crying foul on the man who originally filed the complaint, sparking the investigation, telling the Boston Globe, quote, I'll read from here, I find it incredibly sexist that basically he's going after my husband by destroying my reputation. And that's not okay. Now back to my voice. Sanders is accused of illegally obtaining a loan as president of a now former college she once oversaw. Now to the segment.
New proof that birth order really does matter. Remember this classic family moment from the movie Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead?
Mow the lawn today, and don't forget to do the dishes, okay?
Dishes are done, man.
This new study backs up that famous scene showing that the second born in the birth order are more likely to get in trouble. The second born are.
Right, that's us. Our next guest is the author of the Birth Order book. Dr. Kevin Lehman's got a brand new book out. Welcome back, Kevin.
Hey, good morning, Brian. Hi, everybody.
Hi,
You buy into this whole second kid thing?
Brian is delinquent?
We're problems?
Well, first of all, let's be clear. Brian is delinquent, okay?
Okay.
Now for the segment.
Okay.
Firstborn children rule, okay? And we set firstborns up to achieve in about everything. They're read to more. They're focused on. The family photo album is huge. And then the thing comes home.
The second born.
That second child. And, you know, that second child is never going to catch up to that firstborn. So firstborn children are scholarly, they're achieving, they do the right things. Second children read that and say, wait a minute, that role is filled. I'm going to take another exit out of here. And they're huge on friendships, especially out of their family, away from their family.
Okay. So this is news for Ainsley. We've got a photograph. We've gone into the Ainsley Earhart family archives.
It's a little red because I'm a little old.
There you are.
It looks problematic.
A little overexposed or underexposed. That's my baby brother in the middle. He's 5.5 years younger. And then my sister on the left in the stripe who did do everything right.
Look how sad she looks, Kevin.
Oh, my sister?
No, you.
You know what? Here's the good news about second children. They negotiate, they compromise. They tend to be mavericks. They tend to do things a little different, out of the box. But for parents listening and watching who have that kid that just doesn't ever quite get up to that firstborn level, they're so smart, quite frankly, to pull that kid aside and say, honey, can I ask your opinion about something? Sure, what?
Right.
Is it me or is your sister or brother just a little over the top?
Oh.
Now, if you want to get in that second kid's head, I'm telling you, that's how you get there. And finally, that second child says, somebody understands what I'm up against.
That makes perfect sense. So this MIT economist released a study showing that birth order affects children's delinquent behavior. They define delinquency, Kevin, as disciplinary actions and truancy at school, juvenile delinquency, and adult crime and imprisonment. Now, Brian is the second born. That does not apply to him, I don't think.
I'm eventually going to do time, let's be honest. There I am in the middle, trying to make it all work.
Brian does things out of the box, and that's what makes him so lovable, okay?
Right.
And that's what's neat about birth order. And most people don't understand that in most families there's more than one firstborn personality.
By the way, we're not much on eye contact in pictures. We're looking everywhere. Why my parents put sticker bushes in our front yard was unbelievable.
Well, to keep the neighbors out.
Yeah, but you play football and you try to go around the outside.
We
you
have
pay the price forever.
You know what? They're good because they just continue to grow. You can groom them easily. They always look pretty. They attract bumblebees, though.
They could kill you.
There you go.
All right, Dr. Lehman, thank you so much. The book is Birth Order Book, if you want to read it. This topic just fascinates everybody. Where are you in the lineup, Steve?
I'm the firstborn.
Typical.
Everything went your way.
He keeps us in line. Thank
All
you
right.
so much, Dr. Lehman. Good to see you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
you're welcome. Good to be with you guys. Thanks.
How the birth order segment turned into something about bushes,
I know.
scratching my
Listen, we're delinquent. You never know where we're going to take it.
But no discipline, no one pays
Right.
attention
Good
to it.
excuse, right? The only thing I got in trouble for was talking, and now I get paid to do it.
Right, absolutely.
Take that, teachers.
well.
Yeah.
All right. Meanwhile, straight ahead, this family knows all about birth order. Congressman Sean Duffy and his
Look
wife
how
Rachel
cute.
and their children are here cooking up a special breakfast surprise in the green room, and they're going to move out to Studio F here shortly.
And they look hungry. And remember this campaign pledge from the president?
We will have two simple rules when it comes to rebuilding this country. Buy American and hire American.
Now he is following through on Made in America, that promise. Former Education Secretary Bill Bennett on why this is so important for the country next.
All right, it's 28 minutes before the top of the hour on this very busy Monday. Let's bring in former Secretary of Education under President Reagan and Fox News contributor, a fellow you know as Bill Bennett. Bill, good morning to you. How are you on this Monday?
How are you? I am a second child, and I'd like to say I love Kevin Lehman, but Uncle Bob was the scoundrel, not me.
Oh, really?
Uncle Bob.
So you were the person that stayed in line, right? Obviously, you wrote a book on virtues.
Yeah, well, yeah,
He
that's
had
right.
to.
But I mean, you know what Kevin Lehman is saying is very interesting. There's a great line from Walker Percy. He says the younger brother sees the older brother as all business, so he becomes all monkey business. And I think there's a lot of that. But what he's saying, I think, is largely true.
You have what's the lineup? You're in the middle. You said you have an older brother.
No. There's just, thank goodness, as the New Yorker said, thank goodness there are only two Bennett brothers. Thank goodness.
All right, Bill, let's talk a little bit about today is Back on Message Monday. The White House is starting Made in America Week. This is the first of 3 one-week-long campaigns. We've seen some of the theme weeks in the past that kind of petered out for the most part because they probably should have been on health care the whole time. What do you make of this?
Well, this is a good issue for the president. Obviously, this is how the public identifies him as a business guy. This was a large part of the campaign, and some of the facts bear him out. We got an economy that's moving. Confidence in this economy is extraordinary. You saw the survey in Forbes, and the market is obviously an indicator. So I think this is a good thing to build on. However, as we say here every morning, some important legislation, consequential legislation, could be passed too, tax reform, health care, and the like. But even without that, the president's efforts at regulation or deregulation, that rule that for every new rule you put in, you got to take out two, is, I think, made a positive difference. But Stuart Varney could comment more expert than I.
Right, so we'll see where that goes. We talked to the CEO of Altec, and here's what he said. He's been working with the president on manufacturing, and will be at the White House today.
It's incredible. I've had the opportunity to work on the President's Manufacturing Council, currently working with the President on a number of policy issues, principally workforce policy, deregulation, and infrastructure. So this is a continuation of the focus by the President, his cabinet, and the entire administration on making sure that we do everything we can to celebrate, recognize, and grow jobs in America.
He sounds like Donald Trump's message.
Yeah, look, and again, this is happening without major legislation. Get major tax reform legislation, and you will see a 4-barrel carburetor attached, a thruster, a booster rocket to this, and that would be great, and we need to do it pretty soon.
All right, well, one of the editorial reporters for the Chicago Tribune wrote an editorial attacking patriotism, the Star-Spangled Banner, really sticking up for Colin Kaepernick, saying that he should be out there playing as he's one of the best players, and saying that teams aren't putting him on the field because they don't want to deal with his politics. Her name is Diana, I think it's Getz. Getz, I had a friend with the same last name, Goetsch, but she's for the Chicago Tribune. This is what she says. The Star-Spangled Banner is a pompous battle number spurred by a petition bearing 5 million veteran signatures. Congress designated it the national anthem in 1931, but it wasn't until 1942 and our entry into World War II that it was played on loudspeakers daily before games. What is your reaction to her thoughts?
I take it she sits when she hears it. One answer. If you're in some immiserated country somewhere in the world where the boot of a dictator is on your neck and soldiers are coming your way, and you get your choice of what national anthem to hear, it would be ours. That's the only thing worth saying. We have liberated more people than all the other nations of the world. We should be proud of that Star-Spangled Banner. And the other part of my heart, sports. Kaepernick was benched, Brian will tell you, because he wasn't playing well. He really lost it. But, you know, she says in this piece that they take not standing for the Star-Spangled Banner more seriously than wife-beating or roughing up women. Not true. Kaepernick wasn't cut. He just was playing badly. Ray Rice was suspended. And other people have had.
But Bill,
and Richie Incognito was punished as well for some comments he made. So let's keep priorities.
I'll further clarify it, and I don't think the NFL should back off on this. They said the single issue that hurt their attendance and viewership more than anything else is when he took a knee and it started spreading throughout the league. There's some very patriotic people that watch sporting events, and they might not be rooting for the team, but they are rooting for the country, and that was the single most, according to the owner of the Giants, or part owner of the Giants, the single most hurtful thing to happen to that league is when he took a knee.
Yeah, and there are symbols that hold us together. The fact that she can feel comfortable doing this, I think, indicates something else. A different editorial, Alan Gelzo's editorial in the Wall Street Journal, you might think about having him on. He said he's a great historian of Lincoln and the Civil War. He said this is the second worst divisive time in American history. Civil War was the worst. We are more divided now than we have been at any other time. I think this may be true.
So do you think a way to bring people together is to see if Democrats will work on tax reform?
Sure, give it a try, but they are way out there. And you notice amidst all these polls that the mainstream media is putting out about how badly Trump's doing, not true in a lot of ways, the base is still there, among other things, is what they say about the Democrats. A large majority of Americans say the Democrats have no plan at all. Their only plan is to resist Trump, and that's nothing you'd vote for.
Sure. All right. Bill Bennett, who is known as the troublemaker Bennett boy. Billy?
No, he's not. He's pushing back.
Yeah, sure. Right. Thank you very much for joining us live today, Bill.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right.
All right, Jillian has some headlines for us. Good morning.
That's right. Good morning to you guys, to you at home as well. Let's get you caught up right now before you head out the door. Right now, a U.S. doctor is examining little Charlie Gard, the terminally ill British infant, at the center of an emotional worldwide debate. The doctor from New York claims there's a chance that his experimental treatment could reverse the 11-month-old's brain damage caused by a rare genetic disorder. The UK's High Court will decide next week whether Charlie can have the treatment or if he will be taken off life support. Even the Democrats think their own party can't win. Former campaign manager for President Clinton, James Carville, expressing doubt that his party will win back the Senate in 2018, saying it's because the party is without a leader.
If a party is out of power and we don't have a presidential candidate, there's no one going to be in charge until sometime in 2020.
Carville says there's a 50% chance that they take back the House, but the chances for taking the Senate are substantially lower. You have to look at this video. An SUV crashes on top of a roof in St. Louis. The car speeding when it lost control and caught air off an embankment. Firefighters rescuing the driver who was trapped under the dashboard inside the SUV. He is now in critical condition. The homeowner was at the gym when this happened and just finished paying off the now wrecked house. Wow, that is dramatic video. An Army vet working at Home Depot tried using his military training to stop a trio of shoplifters. The intervention costing Jim Tinney his job, one that he says he needs.
I'm 70 years old. I need to work, and I needed that job.
The former employee throwing a paint roller extension at the suspect's feet as they tried getting away with thousands of dollars worth of tools. Home Depot, though, defending its decision, saying it's a store policy not to confront shoplifters. I'm sure that's going to get some mixed reviews, that story.
Come on.
I know, it's sad.
The rules are the rules, they say.
But it's one of those things, I guess, when you're in the moment, you don't know how you're going to react or what you're going to do, right, when you're faced with that situation.
It's a liability issue. They just don't want, if something happens, they don't want to be responsible.
Yep. All right, keep us posted on that if there's a change. Meanwhile, straight ahead.
Still ahead, you know how President Trump feels about the border wall.
We will build the wall. We've already started planning. It will be built.
Well, now Homeland Security is getting to work. The head of the National Border Patrol Council is live with us to talk about it.
What time is it? It's time for the weather. Hey, Janice.
Hi, good morning. It is a beautiful day here across the Northeast. We're watching warm temperatures for much of the country and then the potential for storms for the Great Lakes in towards the Northeast. Large hail, damaging winds possible, and flooding rainfall as well as parts of the Southwest. All right, weather with friends. How are you guys doing? Where are you from?
Great. Appleton, Wisconsin.
You too?
Yes, I am.
What's your name?
Maria.
And you have a special day coming up?
Tomorrow's my birthday.
Happy birthday. And what about you, my friend?
Sherry Jimenez, Rochester, New York. Milestone birthday, the end of this month, does not rhyme with sporty.
It doesn't rhyme with sporty. Does it rhyme with flirty?
No.
What about you? Where are you from?
I'm from Northern Ireland.
Nice. Thanks for coming. You?
From Houston.
All right. Let's toss back to Steve. Hi, Steve. Good wave, everybody.
Good morning,
Happy
everybody.
Monday.
Great. Janice, thank you very much. Meanwhile, it's a promise President Trump continues to make. There will be a wall at our southern border.
We will build the wall. We've already started planning. It will be built. I'm a builder. That's what I love to do. That's probably what I do best. I'm a builder.
Well, now the Department of Homeland Security is getting to work and expecting to build up to 8 different prototypes by the end of the summer. Here to weigh in is the president of the National Border Patrol Council, Brandon Judd. Brandon, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing okay. All right. So the president's very clear. We're going to build that wall, although Congress doesn't seem to be behind the president at this point.
Well, you got to appreciate the Freedom Caucus. At least they're pushing in the right direction. You've got to appreciate the president. He knows the buttons to push, and he's pushing the right buttons. And I think it's going to get done.
All right. Tell us a little bit about some of the border wall requirements you would like to see. I mean, you're an expert at this.
Well, what you have to have is you have to have a double-layered wall. If you look at San Diego or El Paso, where we did it right.
You mean a secondary fence, Brandon?
A secondary fence, exactly. If you look at El Paso or San Diego, where we did it right, illegal immigration has plummeted. And if we do it right in strategic locations, like what the president said, we're going to control illegal immigration.
Well, it has been miraculous at the number of illegal border crossings we've seen ever since this man has been president of the United States. Can you explain why the number has gone down so significantly?
Absolutely. The president has done a great job of actually enforcing the law, something that we didn't see in the last 8 years. And if we continue to do that, a clear message will be sent throughout the world that if you cross our borders illegally, you will be detained and you will be sent back.
Well, on January 25th, shortly after he put his hand on the Bible and became our commander-in-chief, effectively he told the ICE folks and the Border Patrol people the catch and release ends now, right?
He did.
And what has been the impact on the number of people coming over?
Again, if you look at the rhetoric that the president sent out, we've had the drop that we've never seen before with any presidency. And so if you're in the left, right, or in the middle, you have to say, this president has done exactly what he promised to do, and we do have border security like what we expect to see.
Sure. Brandon, exit question. I know during the Obama administration, I know a lot of you and your officers felt hamstrung, couldn't really do your job. What about now?
There's a vibe, there's an energy in the Border Patrol that's never been there before. In 20 years that I've been in the patrol, we haven't seen this type of energy, and we're excited because we signed up to do a job, and this president is allowing us to do that job.
All right, that's what we want to hear. Brandon Judd, the president of the National Border Patrol Council, joining us from D.C. Brandon, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, earlier on this telecast, we talked to the Duffys about politics, and now they're back to cooking up some pancakes. Their entire family is almost here, at least 6 of their 8 kids. Meanwhile, Bill Hemmer is going to preside over the channel in 11 minutes.
Sorry, Steve.
What do you have cooking?
They need a bus to get to work.
They do, like the Partridge Family.
Yeah, right on. Good morning, Steve. Made in America, that's the White House theme this week. We'll tell you what the president has to say about that. But in the background, you have this debate over Obamacare. What now with the vote postponed? Meanwhile, the White House with a vigorous defense over the Russia matter, how Democrats are responding to a different accusation. We'll see how they compare. And why a renowned American doctor will visit this dying young boy in London. Is there hope after all? We'll see in 10 minutes. Brand new week, top of the hour.
You just saw them on Fox and Friends talking politics.
That's right. Now Congressman Duffy and his wife Rachel Campos Duffy and 6 of their 8 children are here to talk pancakes.
Pancakes.
And Congressman, it's not a short stack. You would need a tall stack at your house all the time.
And we do it every Saturday morning, so here we go, right?
I mean,
Ryan, first off, Rachel.
Say that again?
Do you introduce us?
Yes. This is Jack. This is Maria Victoria. We call her Mari V. This is Margarita, your favorite cocktail. Sure. And this is Paloma, and this is Evita, and this is Patrick, who's pulling my hair. And we're missing 2. They're at Catholic camp, so.
That's great. Oh, okay.
They're praying a rosary right now.
The prettiest family I think I have ever seen. My gosh. Okay, so you're going to be a senior in high school, right? What are you going to do after that?
I was thinking about politics, political journalism, and broadcasting. She likes broadcasting.
Oh, sure. You'll have to come intern here.
And Congressman, the weekends when you make these pancakes are special. And go ahead, Rachel, start them because that's your family time, right?
It is, because Sean's gone during the week, so Saturday breakfast and Sunday suppers are important. So these are...
So for us, it's not just eating the pancakes, it's actually making the pancakes, and it becomes somewhat of a family affair. And for us, I did lumberjack sports back in the day, so pancakes and lumberjacks go very well together. And for Wisconsin, we got a lot of our butter and our maple syrup and all our good things.
Hey, Jack, on the weekend when your dad is finally home after a week in Washington, D.C., do you let him sleep late, or do you want to get him up and get going?
Oof, I don't think it's me as it is them.
Daddy, I'm away! Because I think he's still sleeping when I get up.
All right, what's the biggest sibling argument going on? Like we were growing up, it was who gets the prize in the cereal bowl or who gets to sit in the front seat. What is it here?
Listen, they argue over how many sprinkles are on each cupcake. Come on. There's a lot of competitive competition.
Let's get this going.
I like this teamwork that's happening.
Yeah,
there's a lot of flour flying.
So you get all your wedding. These are lemon ricotta blueberry pancakes.
Ooh, cheesy.
We're using Wisconsin ricotta cheese. We're using Wisconsin butter. We're using warm Wisconsin maple syrup. We get your wet ingredients. You get your dry ingredients.
Okay.
You combine them. And the trick here that makes them super fluffy is you use egg whites. So you separate your eggs and then you gently fold them in after you combine them here. And then
Who's going to gently fold?
Well, let me get this together here.
Just go ahead.
Quick.
Mix it up.
Mix that
Magic
up.
of television.
Evita, you get that the egg whites. You fold that in gently. So, Dad, here, I'm going to take baby so Dad can do the griddle.
You know, Congressman, if the U.S. Congress only got stuff done like the Duffy family can,
do you see what she's saying? She's already going, why don't I get to do that?
Jack, how about you? What grade are you going to go into?
I'm going to go into my sophomore year.
Okay, very good.
Are you going to finish school?
Fold them in, fold.
We'll see about that.
Congressman, go ahead and ladle out the first batch.
We had to fold that. So first of all, get a little butter on our.
I think this is a 2-hour show.
These are not low-fat pancakes, right?
So that's how he gets the grill ready. What does it look like when they're cooking? You'll find out on the other side of the quick timeout.
Oh, what a cliffhanger!
All right, Wisconsin.